Create a life of entrepreneurial freedom with insights from successful creatives, entrepreneurs, and investors. Discover how they overcame challenges and turned their biggest dreams into reality. They share their personal success playbook so you can build the business and life you truly want. Welcome to Passion Millionaire, the podcast by Robert Roth. Rock and roll your dreams.
Welcome to the Passion Millionaire podcast. I'm super excited to have another very inspiring guest, a friend of mine who is a super successful app developer and has a very specific way how he built his business in a very lean way. And there's a lot to learn for not only app developers, but also for creatives, freelancers, and other types of entrepreneurs about how to build a business in a very lean way, especially. And of course, there's also a lot of technology insights that might come through in this talk. I'm very excited about having him on today's podcast episode. And aside of that, he's also an enthusiast in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he's not the skinny app developer dude that you might have seen at first. He's somebody who is a dangerous person as well. So, Eduard, I'm super excited having you here on the podcast today. Welcome.
Hi, Robert. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Also, maybe we can start before we hop into the business details. You have an interesting lifestyle as well. We're talking in English now, but you're from Germany, but you don't live in Germany. You're traveling the world since many years. You live in Latin America. Let us know a little bit about how it came to leaving Germany and this type of lifestyle.
Yeah, sure. I left Germany just before COVID, like half a year before COVID. Of course, at that time, I didn't know COVID will come. And I live in Latin America and travel there like Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, and so on. And I love to stay here. I also learned Spanish in a Spanish course. Initially, I wanted to just visit a friend who lived here full time, also from Germany. And I knew him from school. And he invited me, so I went. And since I have a digital business, basically a product business, I didn't have to find a new job or something. I could just do whatever I was already doing, but in Latin America. And then I stayed here because I like the life here, and also especially the weather is way, way better than in Germany. It's basically all year round summer. And yeah, so I stayed here since moving there.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. And like one thing some people might be curious about is like, how was it making the decision to actually leave Germany? Like, was it an easy thing for you, or was it a hard decision with many hurdles that you had to overcome? How did that go?
Of course, I took my time to think about it, and especially if you have like a job or something, it's much more difficult to make this decision. Also, I had to review if I could actually afford it. Like, what if my business fails? Can I just move back quickly? But as a disclaimer, I never really had a job. I had always a kind of company. And there's, especially in the beginning, you have doubts if it works out or not in long term. So I made sure that I have also enough savings, for example, just in case it doesn't work out. In my case, it was a little bit easier also because I already had a friend I knew very well living in Latin America, and he could already speak Spanish and help me with things if I had some issues. Also, often it's easy to just stay somewhere without having to get a residency or so, because they're like, I think it was 6 months of visa, and if you travel, you can basically stay forever without having to get a residency in the end. So for me personally, it was, I think, an easier decision than for most people. But everybody has to see in their circumstances what they need to check and think about and stuff. Like you also have to change your health insurance and these things. But you can. This is also my philosophy. I didn't make a full decision. Like I didn't say in the beginning, oh, I will stay all my life there. I still don't know. So I kept basically everything I had and just cut off things I had to cut off. Like in Germany, I had to deregister or unregister, how it's called. And also unregister my business there so I could start the business wherever I went. So like just the minimum I did in the beginning so I could test it out basically to see if I really want to stay there.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad to hear that also, because who knows, somebody who's listening might be interested in also how that works, and you found a way to basically de-risk the whole decision. And actually, were you talking about Tobias beforehand?
Yes,
so
exactly.
The person, yeah, cool.
Yeah, you met him, yeah.
Yeah. He's the reason why. No, did we met first? Yeah, we met first, I think, and then we met Tobias, and yeah, then there was a whole circle coming together of entrepreneurial people. I was really excited. So actually, there are entrepreneurs all over the world. The ones that left Germany, the ones that left Austria, and they meet in all kind of places, which is super exciting to me still also. And for you, it sounded like it was like 5 years ago when you were making this move.
Can you repeat, please?
That was 5 years ago, roughly, when you made the move.
Yes.
To leave. Okay, something like this.
Yes. Basically, like 6 months before COVID in 2019 or something like this. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and it worked out well for you. So I'm super happy to hear that. Everybody for sure is super curious also, like, okay, how can you finance this? So you have a stable life when you're traveling the world like you do. And what we have said in the beginning already is like you're an app developer. And I know a little more about the numbers than we're gonna share here, but just a little bit, like it's definitely not an income of a typical successful freelancer. It's not like 5,000, 10,000 a month or something like that, but it's like definitely in a different league. And you found a really smart way to build your company. And I believe you have a smart philosophy also, how you started it and then how you also started to reinvest some of that earnings. And so you're not a one-man show. You started it as a one-man show, but let us know a little bit what is the app about also, and then how did you develop the whole thing from the ground up, and how could one imagine you run your company right now?
Yeah, sure. So my app is called NotePlan, which is a combination of tasks, notes, and calendar, just all in one app. So you can plan your days, and you can also plan projects and bigger plans. So I built it initially for myself because I built it maybe now in 2016, like 9 years ago almost. And at this point, there was just basically Evernote and a couple of task manager apps. Now there are like I don't know, hundreds of note-taking or personal knowledge management tools. But at this point, there was almost nothing. So I decided, why not build it myself? Also, at this point, I was a co-founder of another company, but I wasn't like 100% satisfied being there. So it was basically driven by two reasons. So I have my own tool, and this is a very useful motivation in the beginning, because then you are also your own user, and you can evaluate what features you should build and what not. And the other motivation was to be like 100% independent, at least from other people, in this case, from a co-founder. And also I chose building an app because then I could use the Apple's distribution infrastructure. So you upload it and it's basically easily findable by lots of people. And it turned out to work out for me because Apple also featured NotePlan as a Mac app in the beginning on the App Store. for like 2 weeks, I think. And this gave me also initially the distribution, and it was basically free marketing for me. And financially, it helped me also to decide when to quit the other company as a co-founder. So if you have so this is usually if you have a job, for example, you should not quit the job and then try to build something until your savings run out. The best way is to start a side project and then build your product on the side until it like covers your living expenses, and then you can quit your job if you want. Maybe you love it, and then you can also keep doing it. But in my case, I hated my being the co-founder. I wanted to do more, not just like I was the technical co-founder, so I was basically just doing software development. But I wanted to do also marketing. I wanted to talk to customers. So I decided to build it. And another decision was to have rather lots of small customers instead of a couple of big customers. Because if you have, say, maybe most freelancers have maybe a couple of really big customers who bring in most of the revenue, and then it brings a big risk along with it, because if one customer leaves, you maybe lose a big chunk of your revenue. But right. in the case of so NotePlan is a mostly B2C product, or you can also say prosumer, because we're adding lots of features, so it becomes more of a professional tool. And but the result is you have lots of small customers. So if one customer doesn't like you, or or is doing something like, if you build this, then I come, or if you don't fix this, I leave. These risky situations, you can basically ignore it if it's not anyways on your roadmap or in your focus, and you don't have the stress. Also, another reason is why an app and not like a website is with a website, you also have to deal with servers. So you have to wake up at 3 a.m. if something is not working, for example, and fix it. But with an app, it runs on the device, it runs offline. So like if something is not working, it's mostly on individual devices and not a problem for all customers. So it's another point of de-risking it and making it as lean as possible. To use existing resources, especially from Apple. They have also their own sync servers where you can store the data, like iCloud, and I don't have to manage, nor I have to pay for my own server. And if some server goes down somewhere in maybe United States, and Apple engineers waking up at 3 a.m. for me and fixing the server, basically, so I don't have to do it.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of learnings already in there, especially about how you're thinking about de-risking the whole operation, from how you made the move to leave Germany, start traveling, then also how you started building this app and the company that you run now also. It's all basically a story of low risk, de-risk everything possible. And also what it means to me is like you are trying to be very efficient the way you move. So I'd be also curious to learn about how did you go about when you, before I go into this, about your employees that you have. I'd be curious also, you said you are not only an app developer, but you're a marketer as well. And I think that's a very unique thing, because there are a lot of, especially engineers, that don't want to do anything with communication, marketing, and all of that. So that's unique. And I think you called it even a kind of a superpower as an engineer, if you have that combination. Like, how did you figure out you're that type of person? And then how did you actually start profiting from it? So how did you market your app as well? Like, what did you do to bring more traffic to it?
Yeah, I'm not a natural marketing person. I wouldn't say this. I'm more of a natural developer. But what I did in the beginning, was I was talking to the customers a lot, because they were initially writing to me through emails, then later also Reddit, and then I created a Discord community. So I'm constantly talking to customers just to know what issues they have, what features they want, and to build the app correctly. And also had to change the app a couple of times. And in the beginning, I did a little bit of marketing just to get it started, like posting on Reddit and the usual stuff, Reddit, and then Product Hunt post. But in this time, Product Hunt was, I think, smaller and worked better for this. And I wrote also like blog articles earlier on Medium, when it was still free. And then I figured I was writing to a publication. It's like a blog article website. And this they were called publications on Medium, and they included my article there. So I got also a bit lucky there, and I got customers initially from there. And as I said, you can say it's a marketing strategy for Apple is to build a novel product or a very well-designed product and write Apple about it. They have like a form. I think these days you can just send the form. And if you're lucky, you get featured by Apple. And this is how you get like free marketing in this case. But there's lots of stuff you can do actually in the App Store as well. But all these things I had to learn. And meanwhile, as I said, I have a couple of freelancer employees, kind of. One is helping me with marketing. Another one is I split up the marketing and different people. So one is helping with the ASO, which is the SEO for the App Store and screenshots. And another one is helping me with SEO on the website. A third one is helping me with ads on Meta, so Instagram and Facebook. And then I have a developer who helps build me the app as well. And another one who is doing customer support. So some of them have naturally like partial time, others have like full time, or it's like basically flexible. They just they work focused on their own tasks and then deliver the results. So I've tried it also with a full-time marketer for more than a year. He was a generalist, but the issue is there are like so many topics you need to cover, and if you're a generalist, you can cover lots of stuff, but you can't go deep. So I changed the strategy to go deep into a couple of fields where I suspect it will work, but you don't really know. And the third way of doing of the marketing which works for NotePlan is I think lots of word of mouth. It's maybe very specific to this field of knowledge management tools and note-taking tools and so on. The people who want to be productive, they listen to influencers in this field, which are not the typical TikTok influencer you maybe are visualizing, but these are people who like almost nerds who experiment with different apps and also macOS features and stuff, and then they talk about which apps they use, what they like, and this is how it spreads basically.
Okay, it's like basically product unboxing videos where somebody would unbox an iPhone or a laptop, but not for hardware, but for software. Hey, I'm trying out this app and it's doing this and it's great with this and it's better at this feature than this other app, something like that, right?
Yes, and there's lots of hopping between apps because there are just so many of them, and every app has a cool feature, so they try all of them and talk about it.
Okay, interesting. And to give us an idea, like those type of articles, you said you were lucky in the very beginning. You had one publication somewhere, and how much traffic or how many new app users might such a really good publication bring to your app?
Yeah, I don't have the numbers anymore of this time, but it wasn't so much. But it helped to get the first beta users, so not so much first sales. least in this way. You could also, if you have funding or if you have saved up money or something, you could also use ads like on Meta or Google
Yep.
or on Reddit to jumpstart the process, I would say, but everybody needs to check this with their own business. It's, I think, always different. In my case, we are trying also ads, and the people or the best customers are not usually coming from ads. They already know what tools are out there, and they find NotePlan at some point and then decide to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still, from the beginning till now, it's still the biggest marketing channel is word of mouth, which you can't really control, unfortunately. And this was also with the articles, they just helped in the beginning to get the first beta users. And it took also a couple of years as a side project to make it profitable.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And did you have a point in this whole history of creating this company, this app, and everything that came with it, employees, etc., where you felt like it's super hard, like maybe I'm not gonna make it, or maybe I'm gonna give up, and then you turn it around? Was there something like that?
Yeah, the first 3 years, they were quite hard. I think it took maybe 2 years or 1 year, I'm not sure, without any revenue, basically, until Apple featured the Mac app. So this was like the first boost where it made enough money so I could like comfortably cover my living expenses. And this is also where I could move out from Germany. So this was a bit later, actually. But this gave me the first confidence boost. But then year after year, the revenue went down, like the 2 years after this. So I was a bit worried about this. And then I changed the business model, and I launched like the third iteration of NotePlan. So it took me 2 iterations, and the third one sticks now, to figure out. Iteration means here I made like major changes to the user interface, and then also split it in NotePlan 1, 2, and 3. And so I changed the user interface in a big way. This was basically figuring out how should I build it at all, because it wasn't something, at this time there were no templates or other apps I could just copy or something. So there was like an element of innovation in this. Not a huge innovative thing, but you need to figure out how to build a user interface, what is the main point of the app, and so on. And then I also changed the business model from one-time payment to subscription. And then I could, and from this year, I could like see how the monthly revenue, which is called MRR, so monthly recurring revenue, was slowly growing and growing. And I think this gives you also a lot of confidence that it works. You have basically a barometer to see how healthy your business is. Is it growing? Is it the same? Is it shrinking? And the advantages with a subscription model that you can, for one, see you have the like recurring revenue and how much, and the other one is people won't stop using the product from one day to the other. Like the biggest nightmare is everybody stops using and paying for it, and the next month you have zero revenue, which is not quite possible with subscription, because you have to cancel, and if you paid for the full year, you basically split it up by 12, and then it's already prepaid, more or less. So yeah, the first 3 years, they were quite hard, and I wasn't sure if I should keep doing this or try something else on the side, or maybe freelance or find a job or something.
And what made you stick with it and pull through?
I didn't. So like I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted to be fully independent financially, and also I didn't want a boss who told me what to do and told me to come to the office. This was my biggest nightmare.
We share
Today I
that
wouldn't
one.
say yeah. Today I wouldn't say it's so bad, but it definitely helped to have this mindset to motivate you to just basically what you hear show up and every day and do the work,
Mhm.
read those emails, write the code, figure out which features to build. For me, it was lots of software development, but I loved doing this like together with the customers, by talking to them through email, for example. This is also fun for me.
Mhm.
So this helped as well, but it was always this thought, I want to be independent, and this is my vehicle, basically. This is my method,
Yep.
and I'm testing it and making adjustments if something doesn't seem to work on the way.
Mhm. That's awesome. Congratulations also that you made it work, that you stick with it, you
Yeah,
pulled
thanks.
through, you built the whole thing. And I mean, I I can see you have a really great lifestyle. I mean, you have a lot of freedom. You make, like a really great living, and you're building out your company in a very smart way, in a very lean way, also like super exciting. Like there's a lot in there that people can learn from. And I think one thing I'd like to point out and ask one more question into it. I think you're doing one thing extremely smartly, like you're talking a lot to your customers. And you mentioned this several times, and I'd be curious, what were your biggest learnings that you received from your customers, and that maybe also were the cause for some type of breakthroughs in the development of the app or the company in total?
Yeah, so if you have lots of smaller customers, especially, they also check out other apps and they bring favorite feature wishes to you every time. So they basically always tell you what they want, and you can also look at the competition and try to figure out what you should build. This
Mhm.
also often works well, but you don't know if they just keep features around, even though nobody uses them or just few people use them. So it's better if the customer's actually telling you what they want. And so I can also, because I use the product every day, which is called dog fooding, I think,
Mhm.
which helps because then you see yourself issues. But I don't use all the features anymore because there are so many, and I'm not a user, or I don't have a use case for it. But my customers, they have use cases.
Uh-huh.
And for example, one thing I like to do is I built like the minimum feature set or the minimum requirements of a feature, and
Mhm.
then I share it in the community to get very, very early feedback about this.
Yeah.
So people can guide me right away if something needs to be changed. And if people are not so excited about it, I basically don't need to keep working on it much.
Mhm.
Or when I release a feature as well, I don't build the maximum list of features I think it should have, but like the minimum list of things it should do just to be productive. And then if nobody tells me, hey, can you improve this? I saw a bug here. Basically, nobody talks about it, and you don't have to keep working on it. You could just leave it there and don't
Mhm.
have to build version 2 or so. So these are a couple of methods which you can employ there. Also have a beta version where early users are trying it
Mhm.
and giving you feedback, usually about bugs. This helps a lot, and multiple times, because they are also pushing you to build stuff. They mention it over and over. This is a good signal if you hear about the same feature every day or every week,
Yeah.
and it pushes you to actually build it and figure out how to build it and why, especially,
Mhm.
and what are the use cases and so on. So I always ask, what is the use case? What do you want to use it for? If I don't
Mhm.
understand something.
Yeah, very interesting, because this, of course, doesn't only go for developing an app, but it goes for developing whatever type of product or even a service. I think it's super smart that you're doing it that way. Like you're doing what is necessary, testing, getting feedback, and then developing your product, in this case, your app that way. I really love that approach. So I would say we're gonna hop off this podcast in a second, but before we hop off, I would love to ask you this one question. Like, if there is one major learning that you could give to the audience listening, like to creatives, entrepreneurs, also investors, people that are working on bettering their lives, bettering their businesses, improving something, what would you think is the most valuable advice that you could give to somebody out there?
Yeah, this is a difficult question, but I'm also always thinking about it, especially in what to do next, and because there's nobody telling me what to do next. So I always try to follow my curiosity. Maybe other people would say follow your passion or so, but I'm just sometimes curious about something, and this curiosity gives you so much motivation to get through it and get it done, which makes it so productive. And if you choose the right curiosity, other people also want it, and you can make a product out of it.
That's awesome. Really appreciate that, Eduard. Again, thanks for taking the time and hopping on the podcast with us. I'm already super curious about feedbacks that might come our way. And I would also give an opportunity to share where could somebody get in contact with you, and what's the best way to find your app.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. And you can just Google NotePlan. So just Note and Plan together as the name. You will find it as the first search result. And there's also a contact link, or you check on Twitter. Also, just search for NotePlan. You will find it, and that's the easiest way to find me.
Got it. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. We're also going to go ahead and link that with the podcast, so you can also click on it. All right. Eduard, thanks. See you soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks. See you.
Go to rockandrollyourdreams.com/podcast.